Guest, tell us your name.
I'm Eugene from Kenya, of course. Eugene from Kenya. That's my name.
Yeah, that's Eugene from Kenya. And this is the authentic Evans from Kenya. So, how are
Authentic
you
Eugene
doing,
from
Eugene?
Kenya. I'm doing
This is the
fine. How
authentic.
about you, bro?
I'm good, bro.
How about
I'm
you on your
good.
side, man?
I'm good, man. How
Just
is
taking
everything?
supper. I'm
Yes.
fine. I'm fine. I can't complain.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So, how is everything?
Can say cool.
Yes.
Yeah, just good to go. So what's up?
Yeah. So, I just want us to talk about the topic of reparations to African Americans because some African Americans have been they've been requesting for these reparations.
Yeah.
You know, Africans, this topic is just an extension of yesterday's topic. And I believe you are well advanced with this. So African Americans have been calling for reparations, and I think it's just they get the necessary reparations because our ancestors, Mr. Eugene, are the ones who are responsible for sending our brothers and sisters back to the states, not back but to the states, because the
Yeah.
Europeans coordinated with the African native people. So, what the first thing I would like to ask is, do you think a reparation is necessary?
This question is tricky because
Mm.
okay, to be just, reparation is necessary, but in
Yes,
which form? That's the question we should ask ourselves.
yes, yes,
There are
yes.
many forms. There are many forms of reparation. In which form will it
Mm.
be effective for
Yes,
the African American to be reparated? Because there are so
yes,
many forms of reparation. Which one is
yes.
effective? Could be wealth.
Mm.
There are so many ways of reparations, and
Do you
I think
do you think even wealth can cover for everything? Wealth, I don't think money is something that can wipe away the suffering and the betrayal.
uh, I also don't think so, but
Yeah.
it can help somehow, but it can't help fully. That's also what I believe because there are a lot of things that happened
Yes.
during the slave trade. You can
Mm.
imagine the atrocities that African Americans passed through. You can imagine the conditions in the ship in which they were kept. Half of them died on the road, even if they
Mm.
haven't reached those, you know, slave ports.
Yes.
So yes, so it's I think reparation is important, but the most effective thing is to find out in which way is it effective, such
In
that
which
it will
way?
serve all the African Americans.
Yeah. So, according to you, your opinion, what method or what way do you perceive is making it effective? Because I don't think money is enough, brother. Money can't just buy everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
money is not enough, and that's a fact. So if you ask me as an African,
Mm.
the most effective way of reparating our brothers and sisters, I think there are so many ways we can do that.
Yes.
One, um, we can do something called repatriation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can make them come back to their homeland where they
Yeah.
originally should be.
Yes.
Yes, that's the first thing. So, coming back to Africa, what you
Yeah.
also need to understand is that not all African Americans want to come to Africa. So, this form of reparation might not apply to everyone because there are those African Americans who still want to stay in the United States, regardless
Mm.
of the reparations that they want. So we as
Yes.
Africans, if we are in
Yes.
the middle of this, as people played part, some of our leaders played part in this slave trade. So
Mm.
the first thing that you can do is through repatriation. Now, repatriation might not be effective for all African Americans, but just for some
Yeah.
who recognize
Yeah.
their roots and want to come back home. So
Yes.
I think there are a lot of steps and a lot of ways of preparation, and one form is repatriation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I have gotten that.
repatriation,
Yes.
yeah, but repatriation doesn't involve all African Americans because not all African
Mm.
Americans want to leave their families to go to Africa because
Mm.
it's been 400 uh, years,
Yeah.
500 years
For
since the
400
time
years
they
and
arrived.
above. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, apart from, okay, let's read some of the comments we have here. I'm having African dive. Reparation is necessary. They should be compensated with the land and citizenship in Africa. Wow, that's a good way to go. I think this is even the best way to go. Land and citizenship, because they belong here and they acquired land here. This is the land of their ancestors. So that one I totally agree with you. So we also have Annie Ron. Sister Annie Ron, how are you doing? I believe you're doing fine. So happy to make it in the live. Yeah, we are also happy for you joining the live. We are very happy. African dive. Also, Africans should be paid reparations for the crimes of colonizations. Yeah, even this is something that the people of West Africa have been advocating for. These coups have a reason for it happening every now and then. This one I totally agree. So we have also, who else? Sister Annie Ron, I believe resources in money and land with opportunities to start business. Wow, this is good. This is good. Anywhere land is mentioned, that's a good way to start. That's a good way to go because land, African Americans, this is their land. So giving them land is not even doing them a favor. It's doing the right thing. And I
So
believe that
even
should be so. Yes.
I think there are some things that we need to address. First, we have categories of reparation. We have the social
Yeah.
reparation, we have the
Yes.
political reparation, and we have the
Yes.
economic reparation.
Yes.
So that's why we need to come together as Africans and
Mm.
all stakeholders who are involved in this. It could be the presidents, African presidents. It could
Yeah.
be the generally the stakeholders who are involved in the slave trade and the generation which is living right now. So we can come
Yeah.
all together and see um,
Yes.
how economically can we help our brothers and sisters.
I'm having a
We
problem with my camera. Just hold on a little bit.
fine.
Just pull it back. All right, we can talk.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
was saying we have different forms of reparation.
Mm.
Some African Americans need the cultural reparation, some need economic reparation, some need the social reparation. So
Mm.
we need to come together as
Mm.
different stakeholders and find out which one is effective for which group because we have a division between African Americans because different of some of them don't want wealth. You need to understand that some
Mhm.
of them don't want wealth. Some of
Mhm.
them they only want a way of coming back home and having economic opportunities, just as one of our members have said down there.
Yes.
I think economically, it will be important if our presidents, our African presidents,
Mm.
find a way of letting African Americans come. And some of African countries have started paying reparations through, visa free. We can talk of Ghana, we can talk of Kenya, we
Yes.
can talk of Gambia, we can talk of South Africa, we can talk of Tanzania.
Yes.
Um, these countries have opened, and it's a good start.
Mm.
Now, the biggest problem is here. We have a
Mm.
division between African and African Americans. There are a group
Mm.
of African Americans who doesn't want wealth. We have African Americans who want wealth. Also, we need to understand that there is economic disparity
Mm.
between African Americans themselves,
Mm.
leave alone the disparity between African Americans and the whites. Leave alone that. Now there's a disparity of wealth between African Americans between themselves. So you
Mm.
understand that their wants might be different when it comes to reparation because we have African Americans who have a lot of resources. Now their type
Mm.
of reparation might be different with other African Americans because of this
Mm.
disparity. So this is so crucial, and it needs a lot of investigation. It needs a lot of.
Yeah.
This is even something. This is even something beyond us because we have a different type of. I don't want to call it segregation, but we have a different social class, and people want reparations according to their level. For example, you and I. Um,
Mhm.
let's say, for example, we are African Americans. I have a lot of money. I have a lot of resources. I don't need to come back to Africa, but I recognize Africa as my own. On the other
Yes.
point, you are an African American. You might not
Mm.
have the resources the way you want. You might demand that you want land. You see, you might
Mhm.
demand that you want the economic opportunities. But for me, I may just want. cultural reparation. Cultural reparation is this. I'll intertwine it with education. So I can demand that let the government teach African American students African culture. Let them know what's the real culture. Yeah. So
Mm.
our reparations might be different, and that's a problem. That
Okay, okay, okay.
I think, yeah,
Mm. All right. I see you have a lot to say, and that is good. So remember,
I
we're
do
just
have a lot to say.
discussing. Yeah, we are just discussing. It's not a Q&A. We are just discussing. So what are your thoughts on the idea of reparations for Black Americans from African countries? What do you think of
Yes.
it?
I think that's precise.
Yeah.
One now that they are African Americans in the country, already in the
Mm.
country,
Yes.
they don't need to travel. So it means that they have some privileges as African Americans, and
Mm.
they also need to get privileges in when it comes to still I'll talk about culture because
Mm.
in some extent there was cultural erosion during the slave trade, and you can
Mm.
imagine some African Americans were not allowed to use African names. If you were to use African names, you're castrated. Now when they could come back to the country, you know what they could
Mm.
the African presidents can do? They can pass a law that makes African American own African names. For example, if
Mhm.
my DNA test tells me that I should come to East Africa, Kenya,
Mm.
and I want to relate to, for example, Luo people, I could take a name called Omondi. For example, I could replace John
Mm.
Miles
Mm.
to John Omondi. So that's one thing. That's a form of reparation.
Mm.
Number two is they could also find a way of giving these people economic opportunities. If it's
Mm.
businesses, yeah, if it's businesses, they should the government should find a way of setting up businesses. But again, also listening to the locals what they think, because there might be
Mm.
problems with the locals because people are different. Um, I want to take this example. I'll use the example of China Square. I don't know most of your guests might not know this, but you see, China Square was
I've
brought into
done
Kenya.
I have done some videos about China Square,
Yes,
and
so China
I
Square.
did some explanation also. Yeah.
Yeah. So China Square is a Chinese company which generally deals with goods, selling of goods in the country. So
Mm.
you see, the local sellers, the local business people started prohibiting, saying that these people are hindering them from getting their customers because they're selling these things relatively cheaper as compared to what
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
sell to their
Mm.
customers. So this thing might happen with
Mm.
African Americans when they come to, for example, Kenya. Now
Mm.
we have to find a balance between the way we coexist economically, so that one group will not say that
Mm.
we are lacking economic opportunities because a given group of people have come to our country and they're doing this and this. And so those are some aspects that they should look at.
Mm.
So when African
Mm.
Americans are reparated, the first thing is providing for them the economic opportunities.
Mhm.
I've seen someone talked about housing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, cheers. Yeah.
yeah, housing goes directly with land. So you buy land later on, you'll have to maybe have your house, or maybe when you just want to rent a house, it's still okay.
Mm.
But um, they should get a lot of privileges. And one, it's
Mm.
the cultural one, and two is acquiring African name at the
Mm.
end of the names. Yes,
Mm.
because they're already in the
Wow.
country.
Yes.
They're already in the country, and they don't have a lot of processes. They just
Mm.
need to have the African name, get economic opportunities. Maybe even if it's, I don't think they'll be discriminated so much as compared to the United States or the European
Mm.
countries outside there.
Okay,
So for
okay,
them,
okay.
it's
So
easier.
let me ask you the third one, okay? Which is, do you believe that there is a connection between the history of slavery in the United States and in Africa? Is there a historical connection? No, is there a
Um,
connection? It does not have to be historical.
there is a connection,
Mm.
specifically historical connection
You
that
know, a, a sister said that Africans should also be paid reparations. She said we should be paid reparations for the colonizations. You know, in as much as some Black Americans might be saying, pay us reparation, pay us this and that, they should also understand that the Africans who remained here were colonized, and uh, both of them are harsh. In as much as colonization ended to a greater percentage, uh, whatever is going on in the United States is still going on till now. So colonization and slavery, I think, are the same things. To me, that's the connection. I don't know what it is to you.
Okay, I could say the same thing. There is a connection. Now, you see, the
Yeah.
African Americans faced a lot of alienation. You
Mm.
see, I think when it comes to merit, we will consider African Americans first, then
Mm.
The native Africans, because
Mm.
they went through a lot of alienation. One is cultural alienation. Two is
Mm.
some people, you can imagine some people were differentiated from their families.
Mm.
Uh, some people worked their lifetime and they never even got a dime from these people. As
Mm.
compared to Africans in our African country, the only thing that they did to us, they took us to squatters. They
Mm.
forced our people to work on their farms. Same with the African Americans,
Mm.
but we were never alienated from our families as compared to the African Americans who were
Mm.
alienated from their families. And this type of alienation and discrimination has led to, PTSD to many African Americans until today.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
imagine somebody telling you that your father was castrated, your father worked as a slave. You understand that how it makes you
Mm.
feel, and how it also makes people look at you as a person. So when it
Mm.
comes to merit, I feel like African Americans need to be reparated first, then
Mm.
after, because we are still on our lands. As I'm talking to you, for example, Evans, you still
Yes.
have your motherland with you, where you can
Mm.
go from Nairobi to your place without paying a dime.
Yes.
So they still have a long process when it calls for coming back home, and the
Mm.
things that happen to them in the in the United States. I'll tell you this thing. Do you imagine that sometimes being black in the United States was so painful to the extent that some people were ripping their skin to remove the black color, to remove the melanin from them?
Oh
So you
shit.
can,
Oh damn.
yeah,
Where was
yeah.
this happening?
These it-
I heard that. I heard that in Nigeria, even men are bleaching their skin so as to look like the white people. It's crazy, man.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
time, so that time, people associated being black with some kind of weakness, and they never wanted
Yeah.
to see black. So you can imagine you as a person living in your own country where your ancestors are born 400 years in the same country. You
Mm.
feel like people are looking you as an alien. So some people could just, remove out the skin, blood could ooze
Mm.
out, just to remove the melanin color. So you can imagine the
Mm.
types of these people face, and they're still
Mm.
facing something called systemic racism,
Mm.
which is leading to educational disparity. They're not finding economic opportunities. So
Mm.
that's a real problem. So I think when it comes to that the people who have faced a lot of pain and they need
Mm.
to be reparated
Is
first.
the African
Then they
Americans.
yes.
Okay. What Eugene has said is true. Colonization has greatly it has so much come to a smaller level. The white people left, but I still think the ghosts of slavery are still haunting the United States, because every day we are having cases. A black person, a black boy, girl, child, whoever it is, always checking on their back, always being a target to somebody, the police or the thugs, always being associated with bad things. All this is because of the effects of slavery. So I believe Eugene is saying the truth. And guys, please like the live stream. Kindly, if you're watching, just tap on the like button. It will help the live go up and be shared with people. Kindly. So it's time I read the comments. We have many comments. Okay, I'll start with here. Annie Ron is saying, I agree. It's more Black Americans that's willing to move back to homeland to bring skills to grow the country, but the issues also involve lack of information and a path to make the transition. Okay, okay. Actually, we should Eugene.
Yeah,
So, sister here is saying that I agree. It's more Black Americans that are willing to move back to the homeland to bring skills to grow the country. But the issues also involve lack of information and a path to make the transition. How do you think this is accurate? Because I find it accurate. Lack of information and a point of transition is being a challenge for the Black Americans who want to move to Africa.
yeah, it's
Mm.
something which is challenging, which is true, and
Mm.
because it requires a lot of logistics to the transition until you finally reach your motherland. So
Yeah.
I could wish that
Yes.
our president could have find way of lobbing out these bureaucracies that makes it hard for the transition of our brothers and sisters. A lot of
Mm.
papers, visa and all those things. I think they should find a way
Mm.
of lobbying them out so that it
Mm.
could be easier for our brothers and sisters to come back to Africa. Because
Mm.
as a person traveling to
Yes.
another country, it's not easy. For real, it's not easy.
Mm.
You have two tasks. Number one is the first task is you can apply for visa. It could even take 6 months, you know,
Mm.
for you to
Six
get your
months a
visa.
lot of time, but normally somehow it might, depending with the
Yeah,
African country also.
yeah. So I have a friend
Yeah.
who
Tell us,
applied for
bro.
a visa, and it took a long time to for him to receive
Is,
his
he-
visa.
is he or she a Black American or just an African?
He's a Black American.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an
So what
African
about
American.
him, bro? Yeah.
So it took a long time for him to receive his visa. And
Mm.
he was talking to me, telling me that I wish our African president would find a way of removing a lot of bureaucracies when it comes to, coming to Africa, a lot of
Mm.
signing of papers, a lot of processes. They have two tasks. The first task is finding a way of just getting to the airport. That's the first task, which is
Mm.
it's not easy. It's not easy. The second task is reaching in the country and trying to survive. You know,
Mm.
maybe they don't have a friend. They have to find somewhere to be. They don't know where to start. So it's a lot of problem. It's
Yes.
chaotic to some point. It's chaotic to some point.
Yes.
That's why not every African American, not it will not be easy for every African American to come to
Mm.
Africa. It won't be
Yes.
easy. It's possible, but it won't be easy.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue the comments. A chance to blend and make positive contribution. This is our brother or sister. He's called D. D. I don't know D for Diana or D for Daniel. Can't tell, but I'll just say D. So we have Sister Kuya Kudei. Sister Kuya Kudei, how are you doing? It's been such a long time having you on the live stream. I'm happy to see you. Let's see what you have to say, sister. I agree with this man. The opinions of the locals must be considered. Of course, the Black Americans are coming to live with the locals. They're not coming to live with fellow Black Americans in Africa. So it's true, it's logical that the feelings of we local Africans should be considered. You see, and brothers and sisters, let's make use of this time we have on this earth, these platforms like YouTube. Let's make use of this platform at least to try and make it easy for some of you brothers and sisters to transition back to the continent. That is what we are trying to do in this channel, and we are grateful you are able to join. So African Dive is saying 20 million Africans were killed in DRC, 2 million in Algeria, and 800,000 in Kenya. The statistics are out of this world. I don't dispute slavery, but it was also a gross violation of human rights. Eugene, I think there's a conflict here. Uh, like, I won't say one is easier than the other, but we always calculate the damages by how many lives it takes. That is how we calculate. So brother has given some statistics we have not verified yet, that a lot of Africans were killed in the colonizations. And of course, brother, a lot of Africans were also killed or even died during the transition from the western coast to the eastern coast of the United States. So, to you, brother, to you, which one do you think is worse between the colonization and the slavery?
Um,
Which one is
colonization
worse?
and slavery. Colonization and slavery is just a brother to the other. Do you
But which
understand
one
that?
is worse,
Because
bro?
mm,
I
I
got
think
you, bro.
colonization is the father of slavery. Take it like that. Colonization is the father of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
How
It's
is that?
colonization that paved way. It's colonization that
Yes.
paved way for those people to come, and they saw, oh, these people could work on our farms. These people can work on our industries. You know, so that's when they started enticing, the African kings. They started enticing
Mm.
them with gifts and telling them, if you could give us these slaves, we can give you, firearms. Things like gold. So you find out that slave colonization and slavery is like a father and son. It's because of
Mm.
colonization that those Westerners came to Africa and they saw, oh, these people could work in our farms, because
Mm.
they have the black color, they can endure the extreme conditions, and we
Yes.
perceive them as strong people. Now they went to the
Yes.
African kings. They went to the African kings and talked to them. Now that's when we have the resistance and we have the collaborators. It's in the process that these people took our African brothers and sisters to
Mm.
the slave ships and later on went them to those slave ports in western parts. It could be Brazil, any part of the western part. So what I can say is that slavery and colonization is a father and a
The
son.
same thing. Mm.
Yeah, it's like a father
Thank,
and a
thank you.
son.
Thank you. We have a brother saying, brother Jasonus Arrington. Africans were also colonized, not just as African Americans. Yes. So D is saying our culture, our language, our families, our homes, slash our economic stability. Mm. So someone Kuyakude is saying, please consider that slavery was also in Latin America and the Caribbean. There have been always been more black slaves in Latin America than in the USA. I think this explains why we have a lot of black people in Brazil. There's a lot of black people in Brazil.
Yeah.
So the same Sister Kuya is saying you need to say African diaspora instead of African American. I think the term African diaspora now brings the distinction because black people are not only found in USA, they can also be found in Latin America, and the USA is not in America. When we say America, we always refer to USA, even though there is Southern America, but USA is always America. Yeah. Maybe we can move to the next question, brother. So, how do you think reparation might affect the relationship between Africans and Black Americans?
Um, it's something which is natural.
Mm,
We have a group of Africans
mm,
that see African Americans as their brothers and sisters. Let's start from
yeah,
that. We have a group of
mm,
Africans who sees African Americans as their competitors, as the people
mm,
who will compete with them when they come to their country. That's one thing we need to understand. That's why the government, when they have decided to reparate our brothers from the diaspora, our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, to come to their homeland, Africa, our presidents need to put a law that says that, if you do this to this group, we will there are consequences, and for you, uh Africa, our visitors from African diaspora, our brothers and sisters from African diaspora, if you do this, there are consequences, because there are things that are yet to happen. One, there might be conflict, it's true. I won't lie to you. And also there are a lot of things that might happen. That's one thing I'm sure of. Evans, there's an echo on your side. I don't know what's wrong.
An echo.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Is it
It's
stated
interfering with
now?
my. It's interfering with the way I'm thinking. When you're talking and
Oh, but I'm quiet. I'm not saying anything. There is no any sound.
okay, let me just assume.
Okay, okay.
So I'm saying there are things that are yet to happen. One, there might be cultural integration.
Mm.
That's something which is yet to happen. Two, there is growth for Africa
Mm-hmm.
because historically, before even civilization, Africans championed, science, education, and they're the people who have built the United States. So you could imagine the same technology if they could come with it in Africa. You could imagine what can happen to Africa.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like a lost legacy, which is returned back to the country.
Mm.
There is an echo.
So maybe we should ask if other people are listening. Sisters and brothers, can you listen to that echo? Brother is saying he's listening to some echo. Mute your mic, Evans, when the guest is talking to fix the echo. So Eugene, this echo started now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's the Wi-Fi signal. Let me try and mute.
They're saying that there is an echo on my side. I think it's not there right now.
Yeah, so I'll be muting the echo while you are talking. So when I'm to
Okay.
talk, I will unmute. So are you talking right now? Or rather, let me ask the question, then you'll answer. So the fifth one is should governments or individuals be responsible for paying reparations? Should it be the government to be paying the reparations, or should it be you, the African?
Who is the government? The government is the people who is in the country. There are just few people who are elected to guide people, but the government are the citizen. Because in Africa we use democracy, and democracy is the majority of the people, which is the citizens. So even if there are few people who will decide, but the main idea will come from the majority. So because it's not the government who will be staying with the African.
Wait, you've said the government is the citizens. Are you the government where you are right now? Or rather, am I the government where I am right now?
You are not a government, you are a citizen where you are. But collectively, we are the government. I don't know if you understand me.
Nah, 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 bro.
I think there is an echo which is interfering the way I'm thinking. So
Eugene, can you hear me? Can you see me, Eugene? You're waiting for you. Seems our African brother has frozen in time. Let me try and contact him to bring him back. brother. What happened? Okay, so you can get some cellular. All right. Okay. So, unfortunately, brother has lost his network, but he's trying to recover. Meanwhile, guys, you can make stories from Africa, and my brothers and sisters from Africa American. You can always talk. So I'll be reading the comments. As a descendant of the slave trade in Jamaica, we just want to connect with our motherland. So much reparations from Africa that's not in our thoughts, brother. So much. So reparations from Africa, that's not in our thoughts, brother. Okay, bro, I agree. Hmm? It's good. Even the reparations are okay, but if that's not in your mind, very well. We have Kuya Kude. The guest should make sure he's signed out of YouTube. Oh. So indigenous faith, icebergs, shalom, blacks were transported to West Indies from America. I can't understand this. We have Chalia at icebergs. I believe most of us in the diaspora think that way. We really want to connect with our roots, family, to go home. ECT. Okay. Oh, yeah, the guest was frozen. So we have Yahawa kids. You need to sign out and come back. All right. Yeah, yeah. Umebaki hizo za mbao. It's okay. It's okay, brother. Okay. Sorry, guys, for keeping you waiting. Oh, Sister Aniron, the conversation yet is not yet over. You can still stay. Some blacks were transported from America to the West Indies. I'm always asking myself, where is this West Indies? I always thought West Indies is the United States or some parts of the United States. But turns out that's not true. Sister Annie Ron said some earlier on message, there needs to be education provided to the African diaspora on the culture and what to expect. Yep, very true. Oh, Eugene, you're back.
Yep, I'm back. I'm sorry for.
We missed you. So, we were in the sixth question.
It was about the government and the citizens.
Yes, so I was asking you, you are saying that you are the government. Bro, let's be real. We are not the government, we are the country. The government is the
I,
is
I,
the
I
boss
was to say
governing
this.
the people.
Um, I want to answer it in this way. So, the government and the citizens, the government acts as a referee between.
Mm.
The echo.
I don't know why you can hear it.
Can we find a way to fix this, Evans?
There's no way to fix this. Once I sign out of YouTube, the live stream will be over. But it's about. Can you put on some earphones? Are you wearing earphones?
I know I'm not wearing
I'm
any
not wearing
earphones.
any earphones. Okay, maybe you should try and put on some earphones. It might help.
I think it's
I
just a
think it's just a problem with YouTube live. I don't think if it's something. Okay, let me mute my microphone, then you'll explain, okay?
okay, okay.
Okay, okay. Mm.
Okay. So I was saying the government and the citizens and our brothers from the African diaspora. So the government acts as a referee between the citizens and the African diaspora. The government dictates how we should relate with our brothers and sisters. However, the people who will be on the ground will be the locals. The government might not be there, but they show the framework of how we as Africans, we will relate with our brothers and sisters. So if you do this to a person, these are the consequences. I think I'd already talked about this before. And you, our brothers from diaspora, if you do this to the locals, there are consequences. So the government acts as a referee between the Africans and our brothers from the diaspora, our brothers and sisters from the diaspora. So they show us ways in which we'll interact. Now, we have this level between the Africans and their brothers from the African diaspora. So the government might be a citizen at the same time. You understand? So in this case, how should we relate two of us without the government? They have to be peace. They have to be understanding. There as it should not be that there are laws which are things that should guide us, and these things are not laws. These are just things that comes with humanity, you know. So if you take somebody as your brother, you might not cause a problem to them. You might not snatch from them, you might not steal from them. When they're lost, you show them. Where you tell them that, we do this and this. This time we buy this and this. And if there's a person who is overpricing to our brothers and sisters, then the law should deal with them, just like it could deal with you selling a product to an African in an exorbitant price. If you sell it to our brothers from diaspora, there are consequences. I think that's the way there is an interplay between the government, the citizens, and our brothers and sisters from the diaspora.
You know, at some point I forgot the microphone was muted, so I was just talking. All right. So we are going to the sixth question. What are some practical ways that reparation could be implemented, in your opinion? How can these reparations
Can
be
you can you adjust your
implemented? Can
volume,
you
please?
adjust your volume, please? I'm saying, in what ways do you think these reparation should be implemented, according to your opinion?
I'm losing you,
I'm
Evans. I'm
losing you,
losing you.
Evans. I'm losing you.
I don't
Okay,
know
I'm
because my
saying,
network is really
because my
strong.
network is really strong. I am saying,
Yeah.
in what ways do you think reparations should be implemented, in your own opinion? Yes, in
There's
what
that last
ways?
part.
There's that last
There's
part.
that last part
There's that
unakatika.
last part unakatika. In what ways can reparations be implemented, in your own opinion? How can we implement reparations? Still can't hear me?
Kuna venye
Kuna
unakatika
venye
ikifika hapo
unakatika
mwisho.
ikifika hapo mwisho.
Could you ask
Could you ask
our
our
if they can hear
if
us?
they can hear us? Brothers and sisters, we are having a problem of communication, so we don't know whether you can hear us. It will be good to know if you can listen and maybe tell us. Restart the router. Breaking. Dennis, maybe if I restart the router, the live stream will end. I don't want to lose this live stream. Is it me? Is it? You see, mine is moving very smooth. Even everything is okay. You're the one who is freezing. but it's okay.
Evans.
Yes,
Evans.
yes. My volume is low. Ah. Okay, can you hear me then? Like, can you hear what I'm saying? Can you hear me? I'm trying to fix this problem. Don't know where it's coming from. Still low. Oh my god. Where is this problem coming?
Can
Can
you
you
hear
hear
me
me
now?
now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can ask the
You can
question.
ask the question. Okay, my question was, what ways do you think reparations can be implemented? But this one takes your own opinion.
I don't know why
I don't know
when
why
it comes
when
to the
it
last
comes to
part,
the
it's
last
when
part,
the
it's
sound
when the
lost
sound lost
completely.
completely. Let me try another question, Basi, and see if the problem is still the same. Do you think the idea of reparation is feasible and fair, considering the complex history
No,
involved? No,
Evans.
Evans. Yes.
It's not the
It's not
question.
the
It's the
question.
it's the it's the voice.
The
Your
voice.
voice
Your
goes
voice
lower at
goes
the end
lower
of the
at the end of the
question.
question. But how is that possible?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll add some extra words then to extend the question. In what ways do you think reparation should be implemented, in your own opinion, to the black Americans who are living in USA or who are already living in Africa? How can these reparations be implemented to the black Americans? Mm-hmm.
Evans, your network has a problem. Evans, your network has a problem. I'm getting your question,
Network
but
has
your
a
network
problem.
has a problem.
Okay, so you can't hear what I'm saying, or what's the problem? What's the issue?
Yes, that's the
Yes, that's
problem.
the problem.
Exactly. You fade
Exactly.
towards
You
the
fade
end.
towards the end. Oh, I'm being told that I'm fading towards the end. What can be causing this problem?
Evans,
Evans. Yes.
your
Ebute
data. Where
menyo
go
data,
Wi-Fi?
where go Wi-Fi? Bwana kanyo data gimadhi timre gini dhi rumo.
Mm.
Yeah. I can't just
Ah,
leave the Okay, let me
uh,
try.
okay.
Okay. Let me try.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Okay, I think the problem should be resolved now. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, clearly.
Oh, so it was the Wi-Fi. You know, I've just switched off the Wi-Fi and used cellular.
Yeah, I told you.
Wow, wow. So, what was the question? The question is, in what ways do you think these reparations should be implemented?
You know, everything has a stage. So when it reaches at the implementation stage,
Mm,
I think what will help us as a nation is we need to set up policies, and these policies are policies which are in favor of our brothers and sisters because they are the people who are coming to the country, and these policies are to make us coexist. So these policies are just to make us to coexist. So the first step of implementation is coming up with the policy
mm,
will be show accountability when there is a problem between an African and African American. Also, the first thing is okay. The first step is always the planning stage. After planning stage, now it's when we implement it. The implementation stage I was talking about.
mm. Is everything okay? Oh my. Hello, Eugene. Can you hear me? What happened? Mm-hmm. It was yours.
Oh, okay. I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
Evans.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's some issue with network. I'm sorry for that. So I was saying,
Mm.
um, at the implementation stage, the only thing which is important is coming up with these policies, and these policies will guide us as African and our and the plan. Our president has to come away with a framework that shows how this thing will be implemented, and at the implementation stage, we might come with policies. I think that's my take. That's what I'll say because we only need to execute it. Before executing it, we need to have policies, and also these policies act as a framework. They might be the rules, they might be the laws, how we can coexist with our brothers and sisters.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I can hear my echo. I don't know if that's okay.
My echo now is gone. There is no echo on my side.
I can hear myself.
I can't hear your echo on your side. My echo has also gone because initially there was an echo, but right now it's not there. I think there's
Okay,
just a
okay.
problem today.
How do you envision the impact of reparation on issues like racial inequality and social justice?
Uh, that's a good question. You see, generally it's about systemic racism.
economic opportunities for our brothers and sisters from the diaspora now back in the United States, not in for them coming back to Africa. Now that's I think it's a question which depends on the setting. Now I think that question it targeted the setting of people who are in the United States and other parts of European countries, the diasporans. So the systemic racism, uh, in a way in which reparation can cover up for it, is one is first education. You see, you as a person, you need to take part in education. You need to know your rights, because when someone is trying to infringe on your rights, you need to tell them that the constitution says that this and this and this and this should not go this way. Another aspect of education is understanding your culture. You see, during slave trade, Africans, their culture was there was cultural erosion, and it is important for our brothers and sisters from the diaspora to come back to learn their culture, and also economic opportunities. We as Africans, we need to find ways, or our brothers and sisters from diasporans need to find ways of coming up with ways of surviving economically. So systemic racism is happening until today, but we need to stay alert as Africans or African Americans or our brothers and sisters from the diasporans. I'm saying this because education is a greater tool, and it can move mountains. You see, so the first thing is self-awareness. Be aware of things that happen around you. Learn your culture. Know how to relate with people. It's so saddening that most of people, I'm not talking about even our brothers from diaspora, most of our people don't even know their culture, and this is something which can be detrimental to them in the long term, because in Kiswahili we say that mwachamila ni mtumwa. You see, a person who lives their culture is still a slave. So awareness is important. Go back and learn your culture. Be aware and just know, I know my right as a person, and that's a way of going it. You see, and the only way to beat systemic racism, the way you say, it's about segregation. You know, the blacks and economic opportunity, and the wealth gap between the whites and the blacks. So reparation comes in this way. One is providing economic opportunities for the people from the African diasporas. Now, this is in two ways. One, the African Americans, I'm used to that term, but our brothers and sisters from the diasporans, uh, they should be given economic opportunity in the United States for people who don't want to come back to their roots. That's the first. The second one, our brothers from the diasporans who are coming to Africa, they need to find a conducive environment where they can thrive economically. And that's a form of the United States. It means that the people or the colonizers um, pay this by offering equal economic opportunities, thereby reducing systemic racism and looking down upon Africans according to their color. Uh, People cannot learn because they look in a given way. You see, someone judges you of how you look. Evans, you're muted.
Forgot to I forgot to unmute. Are there any alternative ways to address historical injustices and their consequences? First of all, we need to accept there is historical injustices. And are there any alternative ways to address these historical injustices?
Mm, there are alternative ways. At the same time, there are no alternative ways. Um, you see,
Explain to us, bro.
yes, that's what I'm trying to do. So,
Mm.
first, you know, history is something that already happened, and we cannot change that. But there is a ways of which we can change them. That's why I am saying there is a way we can compensate for them for that. At the same time, we can't. So you see, taking human life is sacred. That's one thing we need to agree. And a lot of
Mm.
Africans and our brothers from diasporas lost their lives during that time. Life is something which is spiritual, so you can't measure wealth with human life. So one alternative way of changing this or paying for this is, I still say the same points that I said, is one, education. You see, um, talk to different people. Is it the police? Because we're still having police brutality. I'm still trying to reflect what's happening right now and what happened in the past. Because there are still killings which are going on, and the killings which were there. So one is
Mm.
just talking to the police, for example, uh, for them to see other people as human. There are amicable ways of solving problems. It should not be taking life of a person. Number two is, I think the best way for, are you hearing me, Evans?
Yes.
Yeah. So the best way of paying for this is awareness. You see, awareness. When you go somewhere, somebody's trying to infringe your rights, tell them you know your rights. You tell them that you are doing the wrong thing and this is the way this thing should be done. So we can't just say that it will be wealth. We will use wealth for paying these atrocities that our brothers and
Mm.
sisters faced that time. There are a lot of things we need to teach them about our culture. You see, as a way of paying this, because as I told you in the beginning, there are different types of reparations. There are social reparations, there are economic
Mm.
reparations, there are cultural reparations. So some people were alienated their culture. So as a way of paying for these historical injustices, is coming and teaching them their culture. One, they might include this in the curriculum. You see, this can be included in the curriculum. Let them learn this in schools. Know that the African culture deals with this, deals with this, and deals with this. So when the younger generation is coming, there is no same cultural erosion that happened 400 years ago. So this is something
Mm.
which can help solve this amicably. I think that's my take.
Yeah, yeah. So let's do the last question and close the live stream. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, those questions were too many.
They just 10. Now, what role, if any, should international organizations or the community or the global community play in this discussion?
The role the international organizations can do in this discussion is one. I think they deal with the humanitarian fact part of these discussions. One is spreading awareness that human life is sacred, and also finding a way of coming up with laws, because we have the International Court of Justice. I think you know that.
ICC.
That deals with international crime. So international
Mm.
organizations can come up with ways of trying to solve these issues, or trying to prevent these things from repeating themselves. We have things like happen like World War I, World War II, World War III, and there are a lot of massacres that happened. So for them, they have
Mm.
knowing that human life is sacred. That's
Yes.
one thing. Number two is putting these people who are still perpetuating such kind of activities, they put them to the law. You can understand. Yeah, you understand that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. So, good people. First of all, Eugene, I want to say thank you so much for accepting the interview. Okay, it's not even an interview. I think it has been more of a Q&A thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for joining the live stream, and good people from the diaspora, African diaspora. I thank you for joining also. Thank you for watching. And guys, also I request you that you go and check out Eugene from Kenya's channel. He does content about Africa also.
Maybe some of them
Yeah.
I've seen.
Is it true? How many people have seen Eugene? Let's see that. So we are waiting for the comments to see how many people know Eugene because he does content like
Maybe two,
mine.
maybe three.
Eugene, turns out nobody knows you.
Oh, uh, so unfortunate.
We have so many African diaspora.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, I watch them both. Yeah, somebody watches us both.
Oh,
Chalia watches us both. So,
who's Shalia?
Kings and Queens is asking a question. When we get there, where do we go? I think here is where I always say do your research. Uh, Try and connect to the local. For example, myself, I always actually I have met some African Americans. It's only that some of them didn't want an interview. Some of them I couldn't interview them due to some situations. I've shown them around. I've talked through phone. We've met, and we are still discussing. So if you come to Kenya and you want someone to show you around, you can always reach out to Evans from Kenya. My email is in the about section. Yeah. So go kindly check out YouTube. Eugene, could you mute your microphone?
Okay.
Yeah. So, good people, thank you for joining the live stream. I am grateful. Eugene, thank you for joining the live stream. So, guys, good people, people of Africa, kindly, I'm requesting you check out my boy's channel, my guest. He also does the same content as I do. And when you come to Africa, you are looking for a place to stay, you're looking for someone to show you around. I do more than talking on camera and speaking on YouTube. I can also show you around. Actually, we are starting a new project. Let me disclose it to you on how African Americans can get into their homes. We are starting a project with some other people of how something about real estate for African diaspora. You see, so this will really help you people when you come here. I'm here to help you as much as we are all people from the same continent. So thank you so much for joining. Check out YouTube. Yeah, check out Eugene's YouTube channel. Eugene from Kenya. Eugene from Kenya is his channel. He does very nice content. I recommend his channel for you. Verified by Evans from Kenya. Eugene, any last word?
Mm, any last word that I can tell our brothers and sisters from the diaspora is just, um, we've always been telling you to come back to Africa. I've always been telling you to come back home. But I believe everyone in this life, in one way or another, I've always envisioned coming back to Africa. So I've always said this to people. You might not be well financially coming back to Africa. You can find ways of doing this. One, you can still save for, you can save, because I know back there where you are, there are a lot of taxes that you have to pay, you have bills to pay, and you also have a vision of coming back to Africa. So, regardless of time it will take you, just pay and just save, until the time you feel like now I'm ready to go to Africa. Regardless of your age, regardless of who you are, if you want to come to Africa, it's possible. It might not be easy, but it's possible. That's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, good people, for joining, and thank you for everyone who is going to subscribe. See you in the next live stream. Tomorrow I'll be dropping a video. Be sure to watch. Eugene, thank you so much.